This is an intro. Who needs an intro? I don't need an intro. This is just a vape show. It's just a vape show. Vape show. This is an intro. Who needs an intro? I don't need an intro. This is just a vape show. It's just a vape show. Vape show.
YouTube, what is up? I'm your homeboy Josh, back at you with a review of the Hohm Wrecker box mod from Hohm Tech. This is sent on over free for the purposes of review from thecloudyvapor.com, a new shop that just opened up basically the day after Christmas online. They've already got a bunch of great stuff up on their site and more's on the way, so go ahead and check them out if you haven't already. This is actually the Hohm Wrecker G2 from Hohm Tech. The Hohm Wrecker G2 still goes to 151 watts, but now they've added some new, really interesting and advanced temp control features. It'll temp control nickel, titanium, stainless steel, and a feature that will allow you to control any metal, including Kanthal. It performs extremely well. It's very accurate. I can tell you that 95 watts feels like 95 watts. However, when it drops down to about 40% battery life, I do notice that there's a significant drop-off in the power of the head. With their second-gen Hohm Wrecker, Hohm Tech kept a lot of the same features that made the Hohm Wrecker so unique to begin with, powering it up to 151 watts, keeping that same design element with the ohm symbols, male and female symbols, same sort of button configuration. They kept the same looks and appeal of the original Hohm Wrecker and added some cool new features. For instance, right up here they included the ability to upgrade the chip. So it's a fully upgradable chip right now. Hohm Tech can now push out updates to improve the functionality of the boxes to the masses, and it's wonderful. There is an update ready out of the box. It will perform well out of the box. I will say that there is a bit of an issue out of the box, so you will want to push through that update. When it's fresh out of the box, if you power it off, you power it on by holding this button down for 4 seconds. And when it comes up, it says Insane Vape Home. To power it down, you hold this button down again and press it 2 more times when it says that, and it powers down. It says shutting down when it does so. Fresh out of the box, when you do power it down, it will drain your batteries even though it's turned off. For me, it only drained down about 10%. It went from about 100% to 90%, I noticed. If I left it alone for about 10 hours, that's as far as it went. For other people that I spoke with, it brought the battery down until it was at 2.5 volts, which can be damaging to your batteries. So you will want to push through that software update before you really get into the thick of it with this box. I will, however, say that it is an incredibly efficient box, incredibly efficient in terms of battery life. I've had this box for a couple of weeks now, and I've had a good opportunity to play around with it, use it. We were waiting for thecloudyvapor.com to open their doors before we can get into this review. So, I've had a lot of time to play around with it. I know the ins and outs of this box very well, and I can tell you that the battery life on this box is enough to take you through a full day of vaping and into the next day, into the next morning. Now, remember to change your batteries in the morning, because if you don't, you'll be sorry. You'll be very sorry that you didn't. Anyway, come on in here. Let's take a look at this box. So today, YouTube, we're going to take a look at the Hohm Wrecker G2 from Hohm Tech. Really quick, I'm going to take you around the box. First thing you see is that big Hohm Tech symbol, the H with the ohm symbol. Hohm, get it? It's funny. Anyway, all around the box, you see the Hohm Tech symbols, the customary symbols you see on a Hohm Tech product, the ohm symbol, the male symbol, the female symbol, and it's nice and black and shiny all around this box. Moving over to the side of the box, we're going to see that this is the orange Hohm Wrecker box mod, marked over with this little orange sticker on the bottom right here. And over here around the back, we've got the serial number, barcode, and the customary certification symbols. Box opens up just like this, and inside you got your Hohm Wrecker G2 along with some other materials, pamphlets that we'll take a look at in a little while. The Hohm Wrecker G2 is a pretty tough box. They say that it can withstand a 10th floor drop. I don't know about that. It looks pretty tough though. It hasn't dinged, it hasn't scratched. It's actually made with aluminum mixed with a high strength alloy element. On all contact points on the box and the construction, they actually use a POM PVC composite that's actually stronger than the aluminum itself. So the box is made to last a long time. It's a tough box. Take you around the box really quick. Side of the box, you've got those familiar ohm symbols, male, female symbols, common in a Hohm Tech product. Over here along the back, there's not a whole lot to look at, it's just straight metal across the back with the same matching color, of course. And the front does say Hohm Wrecker in like this sort of crunchy looking kind of font. It's kind of cool. It kind of mixes with the overall aesthetic of the box. I like it. I wouldn't like it on certain other mods, but I like the way that it looks kind of crunchy on this mod. It doesn't look perfect, and I like that. And over here on this side, we've got our faceplate, our screen, all of our buttons. The fire button, if you see, is concave, kind of goes like that a bit, and that's really just for ergonomics, and it is really, really comfortable to fire. I will say that. Good clicky buttons. I really like the buttons. The buttons themselves are made from electrostatic tempered aluminum. They're made to withstand scratches, they're made to withstand flex, and enhance the overall look of the box itself. The Hohm Wrecker G2 uses what they call an FSK Psycoil chip. It's capable of firing up to 260 watts, but they only let it go up to 151 watts. It's their way of, not trying to participate in a watts war. And I get that. I like that. I do. 151 watts is more than enough for most people. This chip will fire down to 0.007 ohms, both in watts and temp control modes. It has a resistance range from 0.007 on up to 3 ohms and fires from 10 watts all the way to 151 watts. It's 151 as in this one goes to 11. Just 1 over 150, just a little inside joke, I guess. Here's our 510 connection. It is spring-loaded. It's not just any spring-loaded 510 connection though. It's a full-face push-pin design with a high-tension spring attached to it. So this mod is built to last. Everything from top to bottom, inside and out in this box is 100% designed, engineered, and manufactured in the United States by Americans. It's a 100% American-made box mod. And you can tell that reading through the manual, reading through their website, everything about this mod has thought behind it. I really, really like the design of it, the looks of it, the feel of it. I mean, there's really, really good texture in there. Those engravings are deep, really, really deep engravings. I will say that, you want to make sure you wash your hands before you use this mod. Sometimes if you have any dirt, grit, sweat in your hands, it can kind of get, it gets into those little cutouts in the box. I basically take a wet paper towel to it, clean it out of there, maybe a Q-tip, works awesome. I really like the way the venting is designed. It's not all the same size hole, it just makes it more aesthetic. Sometimes venting it's venting, it's boring. You hope that you never need it, is all it is. As you can see, it's pretty clean in here, pretty clean. They have all the wiring and whatnot covered up by a really nice aluminum faceplate. I love that the inside is not some kind of plastic material that you look at and it looks like it's melting. It's not. This is aluminum inside here. I mean, this is really well put together. They've got 3 points where they secure this battery door, and there's no rattle to it at all, I gotta say. I mean, it's perfect. Perfect. It's good, strong magnets, and they hold the door in place really, really well. You've got 2 over here, 1 in each corner, and you've got 2 over here together. And they do an excellent job of securing the device. They do recommend 20 amp batteries here. It takes 2 18650s, so make sure you use good, high quality batteries in here. I have to say, the Psycoil chip itself, I'm impressed with its efficiency. I really am. I can put a fresh pair of batteries in here in the morning, okay? I can go to work, I can vape all day, I can come home, hang out with the wife, vape in bed, relax, do whatever, go to bed, wake up. The battery is still performing just as well as it was when I put the batteries in there. It's actually gotten me into trouble a couple times because I've gone to work and I've thought that, I didn't notice any difference in the power that the mod was providing, and I've gone to work and then I get there and about midway through the day, I realize, holy crap, I forgot to change my batteries. What am I gonna do? And that's just because it's so efficient. Up until it hits about 40%. You really notice it when it hits like 36% battery life. When it hits that mark, there's a huge drop off in vapor production, in the power of the hit. You notice it really, really good right when you hit about 40%, right around you hit about 36% battery life when I'm vaping about 80 watts, okay? Up until that point though, The chip does such a great job of managing that wattage and that voltage, you don't even think about it. It does an excellent job of regulating that power. I love that they have the ribbon to get the batteries in and out. It makes it really, really easy to change them out whenever I need to. I've never had a problem getting the batteries out of this mod as long as I remembered to use the ribbon. The battery tray is one of the best battery trays that I've ever seen, honestly. I really like using it. It can be confusing though, and this is another reason that I don't think this mod is really for beginners, okay? This is more for the more experienced vapor, okay? It's not for a novice. Because looking at this mod, I mean, you look at the battery tray, what do you think when you first look at this? Well, my first thought was, oh, both batteries go the same way. No. Look at they're marked. Positive, negative, positive, negative. They are marked, okay? So, one battery goes in one way, the other battery goes in the other way. But the tray itself, the way those contacts look, it looks like they should both go in the same way. So pay attention to that. Once you get past the fact that it looks like you should be putting the batteries in here in a parallel configuration rather than a serial configuration, you realize just how awesome the battery tray is though. They designed this battery tray, the battery contacts on the tray, to be 25% larger than any other mod on the market. To ensure that that battery contact footprint was 25% larger than the average mod in the industry, they actually did their research. They compared it against the Fuchai. They compared it against the Snowwolf, the IPv3 Li, the Sigeli 150 watt. They did their research. They made sure that this device had battery contacts that were larger than any other mod on the market, the average mod on the market. And they did this to make sure that the battery did not produce too much heat, that the battery wasn't overstressed, that there wasn't as much wear on the battery contacts. I've had a couple mods that have, stripped some of the wrapping on my batteries. I've never had to worry about it with this mod. There is not a lot of excess heat that comes off this device when you're vaping on it. There is some heat in some of the temp modes, but no. Other than that, there's no heat off this. The mod stays cool while I'm vaping at 100 watts. It does a great job. I love that the upgrade port is so discreet on this mod. It's inside the mod. No one's going to mistake, I hope no one mistakes this. No one should mistake this upgrade port for a charging port. It does not charge the mod. You should not try to use it to charge the mod. It is an upgrade port only, okay? But I love that they made this upgrade port on the inside of the mod. It's not this open USB connection staring me in the face every time I go to use the device. It's just inside the mod, take off the door. You actually have to put it into an update mode in the Advanced Insanity menu. I love that name. And actually, before we get into it, we are going to go ahead. I'm going to show you how to perform the initial software update, because that is important. If you get this device, that's the first thing that you should do. Go ahead and push that software update. So before we get too far into it.
All right, so here we are. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to update this Hohm Wrecker G2. So what we're going to do is we're going to head on over to the Hohm Tech site, hohmtech.com. So here we are on the Hohm Tech site. We're going to use this product drop down to get to the Hohm Wrecker G2. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to download two files right here. We're going to download the Hohm Wrecker G2 updater. And we're going to download the latest OS hybrid firmware, the FSK G2 2.3, as in the FSK chip for the Hohm Wrecker G2 firmware version 2.3. Now, what may happen is you might get this little message about your zip file that's coming from your antivirus program, letting you know that basically this file is not a common file, so not a whole lot of people have downloaded it, meaning that it may or may not be safe. It is safe, don't worry about it, so just use this drop down. This is in Chrome, might be in a different place if you're on a different browser, and choose keep. Now, if you're like me, you have this set up to go to your downloads folder. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag these out onto my desktop so they're easy to get to. And then we can close out these windows here. Okay, so here we are. We've got our zip file. Now with Windows 7, it's nice and easy. There's a button right here that says extract files, and you hit extract. And after you extract it, it creates a little folder right here in your desktop. If you're not on Windows 7, you might need to download some sort of unzipper kind of utility. Just Google, unzip Windows, something like that, it'll pop right up. We'll open that up, and we'll open this up, and inside we've got our Hohm Wrecker G2 updater. This is the software program we're going to use to update our Hohm Wrecker G2. Say yes when the user account control pops up, and then go ahead and hit open, and you're going to choose this FSK G2 2.3.dfu file, that's on our desktop, and that's our firmware file. Great. Now at the bottom it says ready for update, turn device's update port on, then click update. So what we need to do is we need to activate the update port hidden inside here. That guy right there. So to enter the Advanced Insanity menu, which is what we need to get to enable that port, we're going to hold down the mode button, also the power off, power on button, the wattage up button, and the wattage down button all at the same time. Hold them until you see Advanced Insanity menu, then let go. Then it says screen rotation, hit the wattage down button, it says exit, hit the wattage down button, shows you the current firmware version. Right now we're on FSK 1.6.6_2016. Hit it again. Now we're on the upgrade port. Hit the fire button. Right now it's on off. Hit the wattage down button, switch it to on. Hit the fire button again. And now we are ready to go. It says link to CPU. And we're going to go take our micro USB, plug it on in. It's going to come up with a little message saying it's installing the driver software. Just let that be. And there we go. It says STM device in DFU mode, and now we can hit update. It says your device was plugged in update mode, so it is impossible to make sure this file is correct for this device. Continue, however, with a question mark, and hit yes. Preparing for update, do not disconnect. Update in progress. Still says link to CPU. It says target 00, update successful. Click leave update to refresh chip. And we're going to click leave update. It says that's it, successfully completed. Click exit. Our device is restarting. Now we can turn it back on. We can unplug this. And let's check our software version. It switched itself to 151 watts, which is how it is when you first get the device. So we're in the Advanced Insanity menu. We're in screen rotation. Exit to hit the fire button. And yep, there we go. FSK G2 2.3. So we updated everything successfully. We're good to go.
So we're going to take a quick look at the chip. Not so quick look at the chip. We're going to try and get through the chip as quick as we can. There's a lot of functionality here on this chip, okay? A lot of functionality. So, of course, right now it's reading no atomizer because there's no atomizer attached. But, voila, now we're firing. A clock of insanity. I love that. I think it's hysterical because, I think it's kind of a joke on puff counters. I've always hated puff counters, and I've always hated these little clocks that tell me how long I've been vaping for. Working our way across the screen, we've got our battery life meter. I like that it shows not just the battery meter, but it also has the percentage there. I like that it has both. You've also got the ohm reader. It reads down to the 100th. I really, really like an ohm meter that reads down to the 100th. It makes it a lot easier for me. I don't like when it's only down to the 10th place and it rounds up or rounds down. You've got both the wattage that you've got it set to and the volts that it's firing at. I like that it has both, and the reason is the way I like to vape initially, I usually set it for 4.2 volts, and then I increase or decrease from there to suit my taste. So right now we're going to enter the Advanced Insanity menu. This is where all the magic happens, the more advanced functions of the device. This is the Advanced Insanity menu. I love the name. I love that it says that it's advanced, and it is. It's not, they're not joking. It really is. There's a lot of crazy functionality in here. To enter the Advanced Insanity menu, you're going to hit the mode button. That's the button at the top, along with both the wattage up and wattage down buttons, and you're going to hold them until it says Advanced Insanity Menu. Of course, you have options for screen rotation, whether you want it left-handed or right-handed. There's our upgrade port again. They'll show you the firmware version. And when you're in wattage mode, that's as far as you get. There's not a whole lot else in wattage mode to look at, and then we can exit by hitting the power button. So in wattage mode, there's not too much that's unusual here. It's pretty straightforward. It's the normal functions that you'd see on most other devices. Where it gets really interesting is in the temp control modes. To enter the temp control mode, you hit the mode button 3 times in a row. First one you get is nickel mode. Click the mode button again 3 times and you're in titanium mode. Another 3 clicks will bring you into stainless steel mode, and another 3 clicks will bring you into triple X mode. Triple X mode, what's that? It's exactly what you think it is. It is porn mode. The FSK has a porn mode that enables you to control the temperature of every type of metal under the sun. In triple X mode, you can regulate the temperature of any type of metal. Kanthal, nichrome, you name it, you can control it. All right, so let's get started. When do we vape? Not so fast. This particular device, I'm not usually big on manuals, but with this mod, you really want to read the manual. They do a great job of explaining all these functions and how to use them and how to safely use them. In fact, with this mod, the manual will only take you so far. You really want to take the time to visit the Hohm Tech website or visit thecloudyvapor.com and check out the online version of the manual, the full manual, because there's stuff in there that even the printed manual doesn't cover. There's a particular section that's rather important in the online version of the manual where you can find out how to use the FSK setting. The FSK setting is the most important setting that you can find in this device. This is what you can use to enable the mod to read the temperature in Kanthal, in nichrome, in any other metal out there. There is a wonderful section in the online version of the manual that will tell you how to do this. It's very important that you read it if you intend to use it for this function so you can set the proper FSK setting for the metal you're using. Kanthal, for instance, you should set this FSK setting, which ranges normally from 1 to 999, one single increments. So there's 999 options here. Well, you want to set the porn mode value for somewhere between 10 and 45 on Kanthal. There's also a chart that shows you a number of other metals and where to set the FSK setting for those. It's very useful for getting the most out of this mod and using it the way it was intended. Now, the way this device regulates the temperature is with a multi-stage stepping system. They utilize output power to battery, or OPBR. As the battery power depletes, they step the battery power up or down depending upon the level of the battery. In temperature mode, you have 3 different options on how to use the OPBR. You can have it in battery saver mode, you can have it in 51% insanity, or you can have it in maximum insanity. In battery saver mode, you're limited from somewhere between 20 watts to 45 watts. At 51% insanity, your range is more like 30 to 80 watts. And at maximum insanity, the range goes all over the place from 40 to 150 watts. There's a lot of other features on this device that I'm not going to go into detail with. For instance, there's even a resistance modifier that you can use to change the resistance of how your device is reading your coil. So you can put a 0.2 ohm coil on here and force your device to read it at 1 ohm if you wanted to, for example. Not that I'd recommend that, but you can. So again, this device is not for beginners, it's not for the novice. This is for a more experienced vapor that knows what they're doing with their device. And with that, I'll see you guys up top. We'll give it a vape, we'll talk about it. So you guys, that is the Hohm Wrecker G2 from Hohm Tech, sent on over by thecloudyvapor.com. This thing is awesome. Awesome feature set, I really gotta say. Right now I've got it in temp mode with Kanthal, and it is turned up to 550 degrees and maximum insanity mode. And it's hot. It's very hot. I don't know if I'd say it's accurate at maximum intensity mode, maximum insanity mode. I don't know if it's accurate at 550 degrees, but it's definitely relative. At 550 degrees, it feels a lot cooler than it does at, say, 700 degrees. Damn. 700 degrees is hot. Incredibly, incredibly hot. Bring it on down to, say, 250 degrees. It won't even hit at 250 degrees. 300 degrees. Much, much cooler. Much, much cooler. With the auto temp control disabled, it's actually pretty cool. Now you've got your temperature set, but you can adjust your wattage, so you can adjust your ramp up. So right now it's still set at 300 degrees. It's still actually hitting right about the same 300 degrees that it hit before in the maximum insanity mode, I gotta say. But I'm turning it down so that the ramp up, instead of being at 151 watts in maximum insanity mode, which is where it left it when I got out of this menu system, I'm turning it back down to about 80 watts. It's a much slower ramp up, but it's still hitting that same temperature, I gotta say. And switching between these modes, I can go back into the advanced insanity menu, re-enable the auto temp control, then I can get out of this menu, I can adjust my temperature, say back up to about 500 degrees. It's a little bit dry. I will say that, I don't expect this to prevent dry hits. It's not going to prevent dry hits. It doesn't work that way, I don't think. I haven't tested it. I don't think it's going to work that way. But it's pretty cool that you can set the temperature for that Kanthal. It does seem to be pretty accurate in terms of relativity. I don't have any kind of thermometers that I can use to actually test the temperature on this to make sure it's accurate, but I will say that 300 degrees feels a lot cooler than 500 degrees, feels a lot cooler than 700 degrees. So, relatively, it does its job. Yeah, that 500 degrees is pretty nice job. I will say when I'm in temp control, at least with the Kanthal, the battery life is affected a lot faster. When I started playing with the temp control, I was about 82%. Now I'm down to about 76%. So it affects it a lot faster when you're playing around with the temp control mode, especially at higher wattages, especially at higher temperatures, at least in Kanthal mode. So this mod will temp control on nickel, on titanium, on Kanthal, yeah. It'll also do stainless steel. Stainless steel out of the box without messing with that FSK control at all. So here's the topper from the Hohm skillet, sent on over from the cloudyvapor.com as well, also by Hohm Tech. It's their starter kit, and it has a stainless steel coil in here. So we're going to put this into stainless steel mode. So we're in stainless steel temp mode. I'm going to set the auto on here. So I'm turning on the auto temp control for this. So that's enabled. Get back out the menu. Yeah, with a sub-tank like this, I'd say you want it on battery saver mode because the ramp up is not as severe. It doesn't feel as, it's not as hot right away. Yeah, that sub-tank is nice at about 300 degrees, 350 degrees, something like that is where I would say you want it. It's a nice vape, that stainless steel temp control. I gotta say, I love stainless steel. I love it. That it's a very authentic flavor. It doesn't affect the flavor like nickel does. And it's just a much safer metal. And I love that I can use it in both wattage mode and in temp mode. That's awesome. Yeah. This needs a better chuff. I don't think this will look quite right, but looks okay. Not terrible. All right. In terms of how it works with Kanthal, in terms of how it works with stainless steel, it seems to do a good job in terms of regulating the temperature, though. It's a pretty sweet box, I gotta say. It's definitely something I would recommend more for the advanced vapor than the novice vapor, but I've been enjoying it a great deal. Anyway, till next time, I'm your homeboy, Josh. Vape on, vapors.